Greetings once again, everyone. Thank you for making it out tonight for this induction ceremony that is geared towards the trainees who have completed the Architect Previz for Game Design course, which is a course on creating buildings and other architectural structures, specifically for game design. And though they have been taught for that, they have learned some fundamentals that also allow for them to uh, be able to at least contribute to persons who work in the architecture field. So, once again, I just want to say thank you for making it out tonight.
Mr.
And
Whyte.
I'm going to be opening up with, showcasing our guests for tonight's ceremony. So first up, we have Sir Adrian Whyte, who is not here at the moment. He's going to be running a little late, but he's a partner at Night Vision Media Limited. He's an educator, technology trainer, digital media and animation practitioner. And Night Vision Media Limited specializes in creativity. They evolved from graphic design firm to a company that can provide a creative solution for all of its clients in the following areas, such as animation, corporate identity, promotional advertising, web design and development, weddings, and custom items. So second on our list, we have Zane Francis. He's a game developer and he's also an active member in the Jamaica Game Developers Society, JGDS for short. And his main role with JGDS is the meeting host responsible for planning and executing general meetups that we regularly have. So Just Dev Studios is his company, and they're a group of like-minded Jamaican creators with passion for digital media and design, with a range of professional backgrounds from software development to music production, and no traditional experience in game development. We've made it our mission to create what we love most, video games. I can definitely relate to that, being a self-taught game developer. So third on our list is Mr. Peter A. Rhoe. He is the director of Totally Animated Studio, and as his tagline says, animate your world. With more than 7 years of experience in animation, video editing, and graphic design, Taz is well equipped in giving you the best quality work than anywhere else. Next up on our list, we have Tajha Winkle. She's a freelance illustrator, 2D animator, and character designer. As a freelance illustrator and 2D animator, she's also a recent graduate for a bachelor's in fine arts in animation program. Primarily, she works on illustrated children's books and 2D animated shorts. She she's currently employed doing motion graphics and graphic design, and some notable companies that she's worked for are Sesame Street and CVM Television. So now I'm going to introduce to you our star pupils of the night, or inductees. So first up on the list, we have Miss Shonique Murray. She is an upcoming 3D environment artist with specialization in building visualization and buildings for game creation. And we have our second inductee, which is Antonio Williams. He's an upcoming 3D environment artist as well, with specialization in the same building visualization and building for game creation. So we're going to have a showcase, which is going to be basically covering some of their journey and what they have done so far. So this was one of the things that is also a bit incomplete based on the timeline. I wasn't able to complete all of the video. So after I finish showcasing what was put together for tonight, um, we're going to have Miss Shonique do a little testimonial. So I'm going to bring up the video. Just give me a sec. Let me get to it. I'm gonna share my screen, and when I start the video, you just tell me if you're hearing it clearly. Is it clean for everybody?
Good for me.
Yeah, I'm here and I'm here.
Awesome.
All right, so your overall score is 5 out of 20. Not too shabby for 10 minutes. You can see if we can improve on that. Cool?
Thank you. Want to see the 3D view?
No, thank you. I've seen it.
Really? I think it looks nice.
Yes, I have seen it. You've also had. Oh, thank you for showing me. I can subtract 2 more points. Rotate it again.
What?
Yeah, rotate to your left. Rotate it to your left. No, I mean you're right. A little bit more. A little bit more. So you see here, stop. You see here, this is what we call a break in symmetry. You have committed treason in the art of architecture. So for that as well, I'm subtracting 3 whole points and your score is now 2 out of 20. Not good at all. Nice work. Stop sharing it. Alright, so what I'm going to say now is
Nice.
your breakdown, your deductions.
Right.
So for having your clippings, the inconsistencies with your clippings, I'm going to say that you're going to subtract 1, 2, 3.
You're
Yeah.
counting them?
Yeah, of course. So we're going to take away 3 points for clipping, 1 for each clip. And for the inconsistency with the measurement, which is 2 points, we're going to take away 1, 2. Yes, a 2. No, yeah, and this main one, 3. So 2, 3 is 6, and 2 makes 7, 8. So that's another 8 points to deduct there. For having this space, which is basically a redundancy, we're going to take away 2 points for that.
No, this sound wicked, man.
Yeah. Okay.
This just sounds like me shouldn't just do it. Me should not do it then, because then you should have just taken away 2 points.
Wait.
I must commend you on the ingeniousness to say you're trying to accommodate for the space, but then you kind of tug away from it by then having that space that you said you needed you would have wanted for the kitchen.
Yeah, as in I was looking at it, but then as I said, I was going to make some changes, but time finished.
Okay, so not bad. Yeah, so that's pretty much it. So 8 and 3, that's 11, 12, 13. So 13 from that's how much left? 7 points. So your overall score is 7 out of 20. Remarkable. Truly remarkable.
Can I get a rerun?
So after seeing all of that for yourself, you're probably wondering, why did I mark them so hard? And yes, this is a 10-minute stress test that I give them, and this is the reason why I did it this way. One, they're able to pick up on the things that they are sloppy at, and as beginners, you're excited and stuff like that. And as a result, you tend to be a lot more biased with the creations that you're producing, and you tend not to notice some of the very simple mistakes that you make. So putting them under a 10-minute stress test forces them to focus on the important things, and then with me marking as hard as I did also highlights the fact that they are forgetting the most valuable parts of what they're producing, convincing the person that this is a wholesome structure. And yes, when they finish these stress tests, they try them over and over again for about 3 times for the night, and they keep getting better. And they were able by the end of the course to tell me what they thought they were doing wrong and improved upon it just because of that 10-minute stress test.
Hello, my name is Antoneo Williams and I am a graduate of Cleon Williams' Architect Previz course. Now, what was the experience like for me, you might ask? It was really good. It gave me a way to experience creativity I've had for a while. started out playing Minecraft, so I already had an idea of how to build buildings, but this really put the technical side that I didn't really know about, and it really helped me to put in the right direction. The highlight for me at the course was how Cleon would go in depth about things, and you ask him about something specific, he would always go in depth about it, offer ideas also, and also places we can go to get the resources we want to get the build done. Was the course worth it? Absolutely. What is it done? What it has done speaks for itself.
You muted.
Thank you. So, yeah, I'm double muting too. So that was what I was able to create, as a showcase of, partly the culture of the course and how, we go about some parts of it, and as well take a look at like parts of their work and stuff like that. Now, I wasn't able to drop in Shonique's testimonial, so I'm going to allow her to, share her bit as to what, she wants to share as her testimonial before we continue. So your dance floor now, Shanique.
All right, so good night again, everyone. I am Shonique Mori. Doing this course, it taught me a lot in terms of, even though I was already aware of how to create 3D objects, I could now identify how to make certain objects and make it ready for game development. So this was me enhancing some skills that I was already trying to develop. The classroom atmosphere was pretty comfortable. I was able to express myself accordingly. And being a teacher myself, it was also pretty good. Now, um, that's mostly it. A lot of what I wanted to say, Antonio already said it. So it was just more along me enhancing some skills that I would have already had and just learning a little bit more about game development. Thank you very much.
So this is also one of the buildings that she had uploaded to her Sketchfab page, because when we're going through the course, one of the things that I do is show them how to create their own accounts on Sketchfab where they can upload their 3D models. Now, the ironic thing is that this was not one of the planned models that we had. This was just to test and see how they were supposed to set up the textures on the 3D object and make it look presentable. But as usual, Shanique doesn't just go by the instructions, she goes a step above that. And as you can see from the result of it, came out so well. I was like, you know what? Let's complete it and post it because it's really well done. And before I allow anybody to really share in on what they would want to say to the inductees and stuff like that, I myself want to go first and say that um, for starting with Antonio, one of the things that I notice with him as his strength, coming out of this, is that he is able to really utilize spacing well when it comes to creating buildings. And if I were to create a very small house or something like that, I am confident that his choice in orienting the space, how you can have the furniture separated and allow for even like the player to move through it, or if it's a real life building, how the space can feel comfortable and not claustrophobic. He captivates that really well, and his strengths lay within helping persons to create buildings specifically for game development. As for Shanique, her skill is very she's grasped a lot from everything that she had to learn from me. In fact, at one point, I even tested her to see, just how much she's grasped. And as she mentioned, she's also a teacher herself, and she's grasped enough that she could also train other persons in utilizing this course. She is well adept to assist anybody in the architecture field or other game developers who want to have their own custom made buildings and stuff like that. So those are the strengths of both of these individuals coming out of this training course. So I'm going to give one of the guests the honors of starting, to share what they have to say and what sort of encouragement or motivation that they want to put out to both of you as trainees, as now inductees, I should say. So by the order of my Zoom, first up on the list is going to be Zane Francis.
Yeah, I was hoping somebody else could go before me so I could just piggyback off that. But actually I have to say first of all I like what I saw. How long was this course?
It was just a little bit over 1 month.
A little bit over a month. Yeah, I definitely like to say that I like what I saw. I mean, I know Shonique said that she had previous experience, but I mean, I just touch Blender. I don't really use it. I I put it beside me and I just look at it. But like what I'm seeing is actually it's pretty good. Like it's pretty much like that little house with the two windows. That's pretty much game ready. Like I'd go on Sketchfab and download that, and actually hearing that you guys are uploading to Sketchfab, that's great because that's one of my like primary resources because I don't have artists. So I mean I depend on people uploading assets like that, whether they're paid or free. But that's kind of what we need more of in the game dev community right now because um there are a lot of programmers like me who aren't artists, just like you have artists who aren't programmers. But if we all can feed off each other, we can really create things that we want to create to really express ourselves and express our culture on the global field as well. So I want to say congrats, and I hope that you guys continue this, and I hope that eventually at some point I'll be. I mean, is that host? Are the assets uploaded CC? Are they Creative Commons?
Yes, they're going to be Creative Commons.
Okay. Well, I look forward to using some of these models, possibly in one of my prototypes or something, because
Yes.
I could use that host. But congrats.
Okay. So next up on the list is the man himself, from Mr. Totally Animated Studios, Mr. Peter Rhoe.
All right. Good night, everyone. Good night again, everyone. Good night. Good night. All right. So Shonique and Antonio, I must say, the work that you guys have been doing is very impressive. And as Zane said, when it comes on to like 3D and especially Blender, we just have it. Well, when I decide that, all right, I'm gonna try and learn 3D, it's very difficult. Head start to hurt to say, all right, put this down for a while because just to sit down and say and to take the time out, it's not something that. So for you guys to do this in a month, you say? The course is a month?
Yeah, in a
That's
month.
impressive. It's very impressive, and as I said, they're able to catch on and learn fast, so that's very good. Especially in this field that we're in now, we have to be able to adapt to the changes. And I just want to say congrats, and just keep pushing and to stay consistent, and and all the best.
Awesome. Is there anything inductees would want to say before I continue to the next, guest? No? Okay. You look shy. All right. No problem. All right. So, Tajha, greetings. Were you able to see the showcase earlier? Or
Yeah, I was. I caught it.
Awesome. Okay, so
TJ,
yeah.
let's say pwede lang send link.
Yeah, I sent the link to you.
Okay.
All right. So Tajha, you'd be the next guest, to speak. So I'm giving you the dance floor.
Sure, no problem. So I saw some really good work, and I'm actually very surprised that everyone was able to do all of this in just a little over a month. That's really amazing. So you guys just keep going and just keep, grabbing at every opportunity you get because you never know which one might just launch you into the future. I think this course was a really good idea, and I hope that you get a lot more students and everything because this is really good and good work has been produced so far. So keep it up, everyone.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I really appreciate that. Okay, so it seemed like my connection dipped for a bit, but I want to say thank you very much. And I do agree. I do agree. In due time, in due time. So, our final guest for the night is Mr. Adrian Whyte. You know, so all yours, sir.
All right, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Just let me start off by saying thank you for the invite to be in here, Cleon. I got to saw a bit of Antonio's and Shonique's work, and I'd say, well done, guys, for the time period that you are given for the quality work that you've done in this time. It is really very impressive. And to Cleon, kudos to you on this program. Great work with the students. Really proud of the development that you've come through so far, and keep up the great work.
Thank you. Thank you very much, sir. I really appreciate that. So here they're also seeing their certificate for the first time. They are going to also be receiving a physical copy of it. So as you can see here, its certificate goes to Shonique Murray for successfully completing the Architect Previz for game design course. It was originally going to be a 2 months course. Wait, it was, yeah, technically 2 months on August 23rd, 2021. And this is part of a field initiative program, which is one that I've created to help train and develop persons for different roles of the industry that are either scarcely explored or non-explored at all, not explored at all. So I'm hoping that, for future cases, we can have more individuals that are specializing in these fields, these roles that from an industry standpoint, when you think of animation, when you think of animation, normally you think of persons who do what we call the character animation, like the main characters and stuff. And as a result as well, you find a lot of persons navigating their way towards being a character animator when they forget that you also have persons who are responsible for doing the animations for the environment, which are the environment artists and the environment animators, and persons who, in scenes where you have a lot of persons walking up and down, like crowd and stuff, those are the cycle animators. These are roles that are not as publicized, and as a result, you find that you see many more persons going towards the roles of character animation and stuff like that, which is a lot harder to get into. And the roles that they would actually need persons for, they are not in any way specialized or trained to go into them. So I am working on building up this field initiative program to bring awareness to these other roles of the industry that can be learned, and as well as train other persons to take them on, because I know for a fact that there's going to be a day when I am going to need other persons on a team to help me create a production, and I cannot be the one doing all of the things, right? So this is one of the ways that I'm trying to curve that and to create the opportunity for us as individuals, a part of the industry, to have to have persons that we can rely on locally and help to build each other up. Yeah, so this is Antonio's certificate as well. And I have this wonderful slide created by one of my team members, Shiesty Hibbert. She is our resident graphic designer. And if you want to have your, slides or posters created and stuff like that. You can see just by the presentation how powerful it is, all thanks to her creation, her work. So if you or anyone you know might be interested in getting someone to bring a strong presentation or create a great poster, she's very well trained to handle and create the vision that you want with the outcome that you expect. So below is our contact information, and I can send it to you afterwards as well. Either way. So next up, we're going to be going into a networking activity. Now, as I mentioned, these are our inductees. They're stepping into the industry to hopefully take over one day. So this is going to be an opportunity for them now to learn more about the industry, to learn more about how they can contribute to it, and as well as hear from you, our guests, who have experience within the industries, on how you deal with it, how you tackle certain things differently, and stuff like that. So I'm clicking on it. It's going to be opening up. It's bound to be a very fun activity for sure. So let me just bring this up. All right. So this is going to be a nice activity that I have here. So here are the categories that we're going to be having today. So first up, we are going to have the challenge me category. Second on the list, we're going to have a career category. And last but not least, we're having a know me more category. So, just as a little explanation to everyone, the questions at 100 points are generally easier questions. The questions at 400 points are a lot more tougher to answer. And with each category, there are some that are specifically going to ask for the guests' inputs on their experience. And then there are others where it's just going to be whoever answer it. So, the first person I'm going to call on is from one of our inductees. So I'm going to ask Antonio to choose his first question. So you can choose from either one of the three categories and tell me what points you want to choose from.
Good evening, everyone. Um, let's go with Know Me More.
All right. Which one? 1, 2, 3, 400.
Let's go with 200. You know that workout.
So 200. What work are you most proud of?
From with my work that I have done.
Yeah, from your work that you've done.
Oh boy. I would say it's not really complete. It's more incomplete.
Mm-hmm.
But it's a project I'm working on right now. The Cube House 2.0. Yeah, I think you already see it. So
Okay.
so that's the one for me.
All right. Sounds like you're working on it. So it's something we can expect within like a month or so up on your page,
Maybe,
right?
yeah, maybe sooner than that.
Okay. All right. So, oh, we're gonna be assigning the points. So 200 there for the inductees. So I'm gonna be choosing one of our guesses now to, take on the challenge. So first up, I'm going to call on Tajha to choose from one of the three categories.
Sure. How about 100 career?
Career, all right. She's taking it a bit safe on this one. Okay, let's do it. So, what's the best part about your job? And this is one that everybody's going to share a bit on based on their experiences. Starting with
Okay,
Tate.
so I guess I go first. The best part about my job would be seeing the ideas that are in my head come to life on paper.
Mm,
That end result, seeing what I imagine just there in the flesh. It's very exciting and thrilling. So I think that's the best part about my job.
So true. I can agree with that. So, come on, somebody go next quickly.
I mean, there's a trick question for me, because like my job is programming, but it's not game development. So which one you want to hear about?
You can
But
give us both ends.
but ultimately, it boils down to the same thing. And it's honestly the same as Tajha's answer. As a software developer, what it's just great seeing this process or this logic that I'm trying to create just work out. And even more so in video games where as an independent developer, I have the freedom to create what I want versus my day job as a software developer, I have to create what business wants. But in game development, I get to bring my ideas to life. And I mean, sometimes it's as simple as literally making a ball roll on the floor that I'll lose my mind over because it rolls exactly how I want it to roll. Like being able to bring your ideas to life is one of the best things about game development.
I can agree. So, Mr. Peter.
All right, for me, I would say that it would have to be the feedback from a client, more specifically the positive feedbacks, knowing that they like the job that is done. Because personally, sometimes I feel like what I do is just something, just something simple, or I just don't feel like it's good enough. But for them to reassure me, letting me know that it's on the right track, and for them to, just for them to be satisfied is the best part of my job.
Sure, I totally get that. All right, so next up, Shonique.
So unlike everybody else here, I'm a teacher. So the best part of my job is hearing when my students say that they understand, because teaching at this point in time is not very easy. So helping students to understand and to get to their goal is what makes me happy. I actually like 3D animation, game development, and all the works, graphics, everything. So I do dabble a little bit. And it's not that I deal with clients, but as Zane and I think it's Tajha said first, it's more along the lines of bringing my ideas to life in terms of everything else I dabble in.
True. Okay. So next up, going with Antonio. So this one might be a lot harder for him to answer, as he's not yet finished high school, and so what I'm going to be pushing as his question as a variation is your activities, stuff that you probably engage in with school or even with the course, because there are opportunities for you.
Alright, so for me, the best part is when I actually really understand it and I'm able to really get it correct, Especially in the word, I can get a not get too. So yeah.
Okay. All right. And Sir Whyte?
All right. So for me, in fact, I need to give two answers and I will explain why. All right. So my first answer is the best part about my job is no. Really, it is just seeing your students progress and push forward and come up with development concept and just grow and expand to what you expect them to be. And that is it from the teacher's perspective. From the animator and game developer's perspective, the best part of my job is seeing the joys on the client face when you're able to bring their vision to life for them.
So true. So I'll be sharing as well, and I will say that I have two answers as well. Just well, I'll do it into three. And the reason being is that I am technically an educator, a game developer as well, and an animator. So from the trainer standpoint, I have to agree with Sir White, with it being no. When I see that the trainees are able to pass their courses, and not only just pass it, but use it to further themselves and to go above and beyond not only what I expect of them, but even surpassing me one day with the same skills. And you know some of the sweetest parts for me is even observing the changes, when they go from the beginning of the course to the end of it, and seeing how they transform. They're able to realize their own mistakes, and they're able to take independent action. And that is great, because I want them to be able to venture out and become either a freelancer or someone who wants to open their own business afterwards. If they want to work for a company as well, I want to give them all the opportunities, present them before them, and allow them to choose. And with choosing that, it also means having the mindset and being able to grasp at whichever one it is that best fits them. So for me, I enjoy it from that standpoint. And I agree with Zane when it comes to being a game developer. The tiny little tweaks, when you actually get things to work how you want them to work, it can be so, so satisfying, especially being that, most of the time things aren't working properly. And so having that correction and make things work like you're expecting it to is such a relief. And as an animator, it's always seeing the expressions that persons have on their face when they are experiencing the stories that I've created, whether it be for a client or my own production that I've created. It's really captivating, because it's not often that you'll find stories that you will connect to certain degree. And so seeing that I'm able to also let persons experience what I feel when I am creating these stories is really exciting. So that's my answer on it. So I'm gonna assign the guests their points. So next up on the list is going to be from an inductee. So we're gonna go with Shonique this time. So, what shall it be? Which one of the categories?
All right, so I'll go with career 300.
300. She's taking it bold. Okay. This is Shanique in action. All right. So, Career 300 says, what do you wish you could change about your job?
Change.
Yeah.
Okay. Yes, I got it. Right, the thing is, I love my job, but
Yeah.
it gets a little bit tricky, seeing as though it is now online. Teaching online is not easy.
Uh,
Even though a lot of people say that because I teach IT, it's supposed to be a whole lot easier because I would have had experience using the online software, or I'm supposed to know how to do this because I'm an IT teacher. That's not how it works.
so true.
So, and then it's a little bit harder to test the students' understanding being online. So, even though we can't help it, I wish that we could actually change it, because a lot of persons here, or some of us, would actually know a little bit of programming. Programming is sometimes considered as one of the hardest topics to teach, especially in IT. I have a lot of students who struggled with that section at the SBA last year. I had to sincerely sit down one-on-one with these students to help them with that specific section at the SBA. And it had to be done online. So I would just more than likely change the online portion of it, but at this point, we can't necessarily change it because it's a necessity.
Okay. Okay. Is there anybody who would want to take a pass at this question? If you see any of the questions that you'd want to answer, you can also jump in. So I'm going to move on to another one. So unless somebody has anything they want to say about it. Okay. So Tajha will have to leave by 9. So she's also saying that, she wants to say congrats to all the inductees and all the best for the future. And thanks again for stopping by, Tajha. I really appreciate it. So I'm adding the points to the inductees. They're in the lead. It seems like the guesses are a little bit shy this time around. So now it's gonna go over to another guest, and let's see. This time it's gonna go to Sir Whyte to choose. What shall it be?
Eeny, meeny, miny, mo. Let's go know me for 400.
All right, 400. Big money. Big money. So, how do you celebrate your success and how do you handle your failures?
All right. So how do I celebrate my success? To be honest, I'd really just take a moment and just enjoy the time of it. But I don't take my successes as my end all, because when it comes to our field, you're as good as your last project. So you just have to work and move on. And I don't really consider failures. I just look at them as ways to learn to move forward. So even on the bad projects or challenges, you look at what it is that you can learn and how can you improve from it moving forward.
Okay, okay. I love that. I love that. Sir Peter, I saw your face a while ago. I was like, oh gosh.
What a question, eh?
Yeah.
All right. Well, for me, all right. How do you celebrate your successes? Well, I would have. Well, for me, I would probably take the time, take the moment to just, you know that what I did was pleasing to the clients, and just probably just take a time off, because for me, I will be the only person that is really developing everything behind the scenes, the characters, the background and stuff. So that can be very pressuring. So I don't. Afterwards, I ensure that I take some time for myself and also for my family and friends, because sometimes I would say that I'm putting too much pressure on myself and I need to take it easy. So I'll definitely ensure that I'm one with the outside world and not just.
Yeah, I get you.
All right. So how would I handle failures? Adrian put it very well, where he mentioned that he doesn't see them as failures, but more as stepping stones as to how you can improve on it. To just find a way to move forward, see them as experiences. Because you're not gonna always have successes. In this field, you can always have something that didn't go how you plan it. Clients might want you to do something, and then you do what they ask you to do, and then they might say that that's not what they asked you to do, and then so you just have to take the time and just take it one step at a time, is what I would say.
Okay. And Mr. Zane, Francis. Wait, you're muted.
Yeah, the classic double mute. Honestly, with my successes or failures, to be honest, I treat them more or less the same, except I sleep longer after a success. But besides that is really immediately it's just about inspecting the success or the failure for what was done right, what was done wrong, what I would change. Because no matter what, I want to learn.
Nice.
Whether I succeed or I fail, I need to learn. And thusly, basically, treat everything as a lesson, and really and truly, I don't fail or succeed, I learn. And that's what matters to me, learning. Sure, successes are much nicer because they generally come with some positivity with it. But no matter what, I just want to learn and grow. And that is how I treat my successes and my failures. How can I learn from them and how can I grow from them?
Nice, nice, nice. I really like that. And Tajha, I'd like you to touch on this one.
Sure. How do I celebrate? Um, well, I guess you can say there's a little step, like tell my friends or buy, those mini bottles of wine that it does, just for that excitement. And sleep a lot, but usually after a big project. How do I have my failures? Um, Usually I seek support from, friends and family.
Mm,
Um, I write in my diary because I like to journal a lot, and it helps me to, process the feelings and make another plan. And I see how I can pivot the situation to my advantage, because a failure doesn't mean death, it can breed a new opportunity for you. And I
true.
think failure means at least, you tried something new. Maybe it didn't work out, but who knows for the future, right?
Yeah, I tend to agree. I really agree with that. All right. So I think I touched on every one of the yes for this question. And so giving them their points. Yeah. So right now we're having it on a tie, and even before we go into the next question, I want to say that this is something that I've also tried to beat into the trainees earlier on in the course. Um, like for instance with the stress test and how, I'm able to, target some of their weak points that they, haven't noticed and stuff like that. And I'm doing this also to help them reevaluate how they think about failures, because more often than not, you're always experiencing twice as much failures than you do in success. And every small step that you take, every progression, it can be counted as a success because you're doing better than you were previously. And by doing that very early on in the course, it helped them to manage even when it reaches to the difficult um, sessions that we have, where it gets really intense. They're able to handle it well because they've already started to think in the mindset of, this is just an obstacle. I can do better than that, and I will do better than that. So now it's going to be up to the inductees to choose. And I'm going for Antonio again, to choose one of the questions. So which one of the three categories will it be? And which question are you going for? Realize and but
Yeah.
no, go for the challenge me. I wonder if I'm nervous about
Yeah, I'm gonna say safe. Know me 300.
that. Alright, Know Me More 300 says, what has been your biggest challenge in your field? So you can
I can just
answer
answer
that.
that. I can just answer
Yeah.
that. Very first test that they give us, whatever will the beachside house. That one, still the biggest one till now.
Okay. So I want one of the guests to also take a whack at this question. Um, Someone we've heard little from. So, Tajha.
Sure. The biggest challenge in my field, honestly, has just been, I think, getting knowing your worth and getting what you're worth. So, for example, when negotiating with clients, sometimes
Mm-hmm.
um, to them it might be, just a little drawing or whatever, but the work behind it, and you have to explain to them the steps and the processes, and it can be especially challenging when they want like a 50-page illustration book cover with matching stickers to be done in just 2 weeks, and you have to explain to them that's not how the process goes unless you just want stickman in it.
Yeah.
That yeah, that tends to be, I think, the most challenging thing in my field right now.
That's
Preach it, Tajha, preach it.
that's definitely true. I can agree with that. For
All right.
me, oh, you want
So
to
I'm
answer?
gonna have to, I was gonna say I'm gonna have to go now, but thank you so much again for inviting me. This was really fun. Everyone, again, best of luck and have a good night.
Same to you. All right. So I'm taking an at whack at this question. So for me, one of the biggest challenges that I am facing is with, when I'm offering these courses, they take me at least 3 months to plan and prepare in advance. And for courses that are probably longer than 3 months, it's probably up to 6 months. I'll be planning this on and off. And for me, it's, finding persons who are not only willing, because I've seen persons who are willing to be a part of the courses, but there isn't much money or funds that they can get. And so for me, one of the challenges, one of the greatest challenges I have is coming up with funds, or being able to get some sort of sponsorship that could help to fund someone else to get an experience like this. And also, publicity, making it be known to persons who would be interested. And I understand that each of these things will take time and effort. And so I am devoted to making that happen. I'm going to trust in, the process, trust in God that He'll guide me as well, and I'll get to the point where I need to get. So for me, even though it's one of my biggest challenges, it's not something that I'm going to be very fussy about, because those who can at the moment will be able to be a part of it, and they will put it to the best of their they're going to utilize it to the best of their abilities. So yeah, and the points to the inductees on this one. They're in the lead once again. So now we're going over to the guesses. We're going with Zane Francis. Sir, what shall you choose?
Um, let's just go challenge me for 400.
All right, we love that. So it says, if you taught a course on how to be successful in your career, who would you invite to guest lecture?
Huh. That's well, okay. That is a challenging question. Um, I guess I have two answers for that.
Okay.
Um, if I was doing a course on how to be a success in game development, my guest lecturer would definitely be my role model in game development and design, and that's Hideo Kojima.
Nice.
He's responsible for Metal Gear Solid, and his just the way his design concepts and narratives are just out of this world, and they're amazing the way he tells a story. So, and he's very successful. He's been making video games from Metal Gear Solid all the way from the Nintendo Entertainment System till now. So,
Yeah.
I would definitely have him there. He's been a great success, and I think I could learn from him, even from his follow with Konami. Um, in software development, however, um, honestly, it wouldn't be any of the known names in software development. To be honest, it would probably be one of the two biggest mentors I've had in my career. Um, both of them have been my managers, but they're both software developers. But it's how their approach to leadership, their approach to mentoring their coworkers and the employees that are under them. It's I find that that's important to have leaders like that. That how do I explain? They don't their leadership style is such a way that they want to see you grow. They want to see you shine. They want
Ah,
they function as a team and they have your back.
yeah.
And that kind of leadership and looking out for you and pointing in the direction of how you can grow in your field
Mhm.
is huge, especially in an ever evolving field.
True.
In information tech, any of the technology sectors, like having a mentor for me in that regard is probably more important than having somebody who developed the greatest tech, because software development is not easy, and
Very true.
without people helping you, it's next to impossible.
That's very true. I tend to agree. So the next guest that I'm gonna call on to, answer on this is Mr. Peter.
All right. So who would I invite to guest lecture? Well, it would have to be Mr. Cleon Williams. Because well, seriously, I can't think of anyone really because for me, I draw inspiration from anywhere that I can find it. But yeah, I would call on you, Cleon, because this that you're doing right now is very commendable. And just how you're conducting this whole meeting,
Yeah.
you know, it's a good start. And if you keep this up, then I would definitely have you as a guest lecturer for that.
Thank you. I'm very honored. Very honored. So, next up, Sir Whyte.
Cleon, why you always ask them hard question here?
I like to have deep conversations, and you tend to learn a lot in these situations. And like I said, big money, big questions.
All right. Well, to be honest, this one will be a hard one. Within the course itself, there are so many people within the field that I could call on, but I think my guest lecturer will be someone totally outside of the field. I'd go for Michael Leachin, and really, it is for a lot of us know the course, what we're doing, the technology behind it, and these things. But very few of us understand the financials of making your business a success. And as such, I would bring in someone who can talk to them not just about the technicalities of the program or the course or the tech area, but how can you turn your knowledge into a business model and price yourself of worth within the market.
I love that.
I need to go to that lecture.
Yeah, exactly. I would love to go. Sign me up. I agree. Like that is so true because that's something, especially if you're going to be freelancing, understanding how your money works and how to use it to build you up is really something that tends to be in scarce quantity, to put it simply. So I agree with that. So this one goes to the guesses, right? All right. The points are added. With guests at 900 points and the inductees at 800 points. It kind of makes me wonder, who's going to be, turning out as the networking champion, the one who's being the most social. So we're going to go over to the inductees where Shonique Murray is going to choose her category. What shall it be?
Okay. All right, so I'll say challenge me 200.
200, all right.
Let's see.
All right, so it says, what are some of the challenges I can look forward to experiencing as a newcomer? You choose a good question. So this one goes to the guests. This one I'm starting with Sir Whyte. What are some of the challenges? Come again?
My question?
Yeah. It is your question that you chose, and it's one that's also geared towards the guest. Okay.
Shonique, you answer for me? All right. To be honest, the challenge as a newcomer was a question that came earlier, and the answer to that is failure. Tons and tons and tons of failure. You're going to learn from so many mistakes as you go forward.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's probably the biggest challenge you can have as a newcomer. So if you learn how to grow from your failures, then you will be a great success.
So true. So true.
I love that answer so much because it immediately just brings me back to a prod bug, a bug I caused in production on the app that I work on for my day job.
Mm-hmm.
And like just dealing with that, like knowing that you caused this,
Yeah.
millions of people are seeing this, and this is a banking app. Millions of people are seeing this, and this
True.
is causing
That's true.
frustration. And knowing that you're the cause of that, and having to not self-destruct in that moment where you just actually want to just not exist anymore. That dealing with that, um, as a newcomer, is I mean, I've been at this company for a couple of years, but as a newcomer, it's insane to deal with. But
Yeah.
that kind of thing never stops happening, and it's being able to react to those situations that matters. That tons of failure that you can expect is just how you react to it that matters. You learn from it, you get up, you go again.
So true. So true. Mr. Peter, what say you?
All right, as a newcomer, you're gonna have persons that will want to talk down your price, as Tajha has had touched on earlier, where persons would say that being someone new, you know, they might say that the price that you are giving them, it doesn't, they can probably get it less, and then you might want to appease them and probably lower your prices. So it's just a matter of knowing your worth and know what you can do, and just stand firm on that. And yeah.
I agree so much.
Mm.
That's very much true. So I think I touched on all of the guesses with this one. So I'm applying the points to the inductees. You know, they seem to be taking some leap of faith. So for the guesses, I'm gonna be going with, Mr. Peter first to choose.
Yes, sir. I've been waiting all evening. All right. Give me career for 400, Mr. Cleon.
400?
Yeah, man. That's
Yes.
stolen. That's stolen.
All right. So it says, what are your strategies for dealing with criticism? Big question.
Big question. It's worth it. All right. My strategies for dealing with criticism is, as I said before, knowing your worth. And criticism would normally be like what? Negative criticism, or just
that's the question, huh?
That's a good question. All right, so we're going for the negative one, because I mean, you can give both, because there's a lot of harm in going both ways if you're not careful.
All right, so negative. Let's look at negative criticism then. And I say, well, knowing your worth and knowing that, are looking to see if they are right to say what they are saying, because they probably are. For example, I mentioned earlier about you have a client that might ask you to do something, and then you do it, and they might say that's not what they asked for, and they might be doing it over and over again, and they're just not liking it, and you in your mind know that this is exactly what they want. So strategy for that is, I guess, have a trail as to what it is that they are looking for, because that's always important. Before starting anything, it's important to have an idea of what it is that the client is looking for. Ask the right questions before you begin. And you'd have where persons would normally say that the customer is always right, but I don't know how we feel about that. But as I said, know your worth, ensure that there's a good communication between the two of you. To handling positive criticism, well, I live for that, because I don't want to know that what I'm doing is on the right track, on the right path.
Yeah.
Ensure that they're satisfied at the end of the day. Strategies for dealing with that. Or we can ask around and then I can also add another 2 cents to it. Bring the discussion to the floor.
Yeah. So I'm going to ask Sir White. He's basically the quote unquote an army veteran in this case. So I want to hear from him. He's had some experience and some exposure, and I think some points from him could really be beneficial. What
Oh,
say
I
you?
use the bam bam technique. That's not them over the head. All right. Strategies for dealing with criticism. I think it depends on where you're getting the criticism from. To be honest, criticism within the field, a lot of times I try not to pay attention to it because, to be honest, within the field itself, you're supposed to offer critique with ways of improvement. A lot of people in the field, especially I find within Jamaica, a lot of times their criticism is more of a tear down, so to speak, rather than trying to help you to grow from your area. So sad to say, a lot of times I don't really take criticisms from outsiders. I do have selective members within the industry that I will sit with and we'll sit down and discuss strengths and weaknesses of designs. From a client now, I tend to find that criticism comes from not addressing the key points of your planning meeting. So if you're not really aware of what is it that they want, or they're not even properly aware of what they want, that's when you generally have the most criticism based on work being done. But if you're able to identify prior or get in front of the decision makers, because I think that's probably one of the biggest problems we have. The person who you are talking with the contract is not the person who has to sign off on the final thing. So managing criticism from that point of view would be trying to find out what is it the final decision maker really wants, so that you can cater to their need a little bit better.
Makes sense. Makes a lot of sense. I tend to agree. So I think we have covered it on this basis. Is there something you'd want to add to this, Zane? Wait, you double muted.
Yeah, sorry. Not necessarily, but I mean, I guess I could just add a little bit in terms of the criticism. It's because what was said with Jamaican criticism, yes, I find that especially across all fields of design, especially, most of the criticism tends to be destructive criticism instead of constructive criticism. And because of that, one of the things that I learned was to actually start critiquing people's criticism. First of all, looking at what it is that you're actually saying, what you are actually critiquing, and seeing exactly what the value is in what you're saying. And when I do that, I can actually realize whether there's value in there or not. And if your criticism is purely destructive, I can ignore it. And that's simple. But constructive criticism is actually a skill, and not a lot of people have it. And I would say that everybody should learn to critique things constructively. I don't have to deal with clients in that regard because I'm a programmer and not a designer. So I mean, for me, what it comes down to with that at least is the paper trail part, especially important. Software development, you have a design document before you start. So you already know. But even in those cases, the same thing with design. You have a design document, and in the 12th hour, somebody comes and says, but this is wrong. But they signed off on it. And you're going to have to deal with that kind of thing in all kinds of design and production jobs and roles. So you must always know what it is that you've agreed to, what it is that your work is worth, and what you're actually working for. It's never a good idea to bend over backwards for a client who doesn't know what they want.
Pretty much.
I so agree with that one.
Yeah.
You ever find out that the client you bend over for the most give you the most stress?
Yep.
Oh gosh, man. Oh gosh. Mm.
I learned that.
I just having some flashbacks.
I trust me, I had one too. Right back to our web. The last time I did web design for somebody, never again.
Yeah, totally. All right, so awarding our points to. Wait, was it our guess? Oh gosh,
Oh yeah. Oh, wasn't it?
I think so. I think it was a guess, right?
Well, the question was to the
Yes,
guests.
it was yes.
Okay. All right, so the guests are back in the lead. So Antonio, it's up to you now. What shall it be?
Choose wisely, young grasshopper.
Um, uh, this is going to challenge me 300.
Ah,
Challenge me 300. What? Okay,
I
okay.
wish myself more than I get through, but
So it says, all right. So this one is a bit tough, but we still want to hear your input on it. Do you work with any team? And if so, what are the challenges of that dynamic versus you by yourself?
honestly, for me, I can answer this. With working in the team, there's always that person who just don't want the freedom part at all. It's like a problem to get them to be like, you're forced on them in a even worse when I then choose it. Versus when you work by yourself, you can take a certain amount of time, work on it, how much hours or minutes a day you want, and you get it done quicker versus and with a team, it's just
Mm-hmm.
you wait for somebody to start for them part so they can complete it.
Okay. Okay. So I want to also hear from two of our guesses. So I'm going to ask Mr. Peter for his input on this, and then following up with Mr. Zane.
All right. Well, as I mentioned before, I have never worked with a team.
Mm-hmm.
I'm the one that basically did everything on the project, the characters, the animation, the background.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a lonely job, but but it helps in that I don't have to worry about communication being broken down or the communication barrier with that. Because with me just doing it myself, I'm able to not having to necessarily wait on anybody to have their part done.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that makes the process go by a little quicker.
True.
But as I said, it's a lonely job. It's a job that persons will look on and say, "Why you working so hard? You can just take a time off and and just relax." But you yourself know that you don't have that luxury to just sit back and
True.
because you have a timeline.
Yes.
There's the thing, you have a timeline and you have to ensure that you meet that timeline so that everybody can be happy. And someone had mentioned that after doing a successful job, they ensure that they catch a good sleep. I
Yeah.
can second that. I can second that. And as I said, just ensure that you can can interact with outside world afterwards. So that's it for me.
All right.
well, for me, yeah, I do work with teams. I work with teams for my day job, and I work with a team for game dev. Um, I will say that in I'm fortunate enough that basically since I've started my IT career, I've never been on a bad team. Um,
Nice.
People pull their weight, and people who don't know something ask questions, and we gel and all of that.
Mm-hmm.
In game dev, however, I was doing solo stuff for since I started back in like 24 officially, so I had started 2014 thereabout.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I was solo up until 2020, which is when Just Dev Studios became three more people as well, because I was operating on that name by myself. And I have to say that um, I guess one of the challenges in working with a team is actually, yeah, communicating that idea
Hmm.
and getting them to understand exactly what you're saying. But that in and of itself creates a dynamic that I appreciate as well, because in communicating that idea for something like game development and even software development, you put forward an idea, somebody misunderstands it, and out of that misunderstanding sometimes comes an improvement.
True, true.
Um, when you're by yourself, you're just in an echo chamber and you don't get ideas that challenge your idea sometimes, so you can actually
Hmm.
realize that something could be much more interesting like that. And it's not that you can't do something great by yourself.
Yeah,
Um, Concerned Ape, who made Stardew Valley, took him 4 years to make that game, but now everybody
mm,
loves that game. So
so
it
true.
took him a while. He finished it, but
Mm,
working with a team gives you the opportunity to um, get exposed also to not only the minds of other people, but how their skill sets can um, help your work as well, because
mm,
cross-functional teams are important in things like game development.
true,
You don't want to be the developer and also the tester. You don't
true,
want that, because
true.
I can say that simply from doing things and thinking it's great and giving it to one person, just a friend who's just hell bent on, oh, you made this? Let me see if I can break it. And then you see the things that you never imagined were possible. You can't even figure out how they did that. Like, I
Yeah.
still remember the day that happened to me with my first endless runner. Like, I gave my friend, he just started swiping, tapping everything on the screen, and the character ended up below the floor and still running, and I don't know how that happened.
Wow.
So having other people test your work,
Mm,
and even as an individual, you can do that because you just have people that you trust, who you
yeah.
can just shoot to them and be like, "What do you think about this?" And then tell you that, boy, you should move this to here, or change the size of this. Like, so both of them have their benefits, but
Hmm.
even when you're working by yourself, you should try to have somebody that you can trust to really just give an eye to something, because you never know what somebody else can spot.
Definitely. I agree with both statements from you both. Really great answers. And to even add to what both of you said, I have the experience of working by myself and also with working with a team. And yeah, communication is the biggest factor when it comes to any creative industry work, because you see, especially if the person is passionate, you can tell them the perspective, and even from that perspective they can develop their own. And it's important that everybody is on the same page, or else something is going to be overlooked. And whenever you can, make it clear. If you're able to see eye to eye on this vision, is great. And also, as Zane said, having somebody who can challenge your ideas also helps with developing it further, because what you might assume would be a really great thing might be somewhat weaker, or it is incomplete in many sense. And just like what you mentioned, what was the game again, that the guy worked on?
Stardew Valley.
Yeah, so it's Stardew Valley. In some instances, having someone else who is there to run those ideas by can also make you work faster, because when you might be thinking about this in a particular way, and then you're thinking on how you can improve it, having someone else where you can run that idea by makes it work out faster, because you're able to then bounce it by them and see, what they think about it, and their perspective helps you to think about it from a different perspective, which is fresh, and that's what you need in doing this. So even when you're working by yourself, as Zane said, having someone that you can trust, and someone who more than likely can think through things logically, or in his case, as a tester, not logically. It helps to make that process easier for you. And I tend to simulate a working environment for all the trainees, and I do this, so that they can, build upon their communication skills, as well to see how they would go about, testing their own, taking their on their own to either do some reviews based on what we in the group say, or even to venture out and run this by somebody else to see how they can improve on that. And I've seen them both take attempts in different ways at doing this, and it shows me that they are very much able to work within the group settings and stuff like that and get it accomplished. So I'm really grateful that you even share these points for them, so it can further cement some of the principles that I'm trying to beat into them for the course. So this one goes to the inductees. Wow, look at that. We're on a tie. Okay. So now it goes to, I think it's Mr. Zane. Your turn, right?
All right. Well, we'll have to go for the big money now.
All right.
So
So
give career for 200.
career for 200. All right. What inspired you to get into the work that you're doing?
Man, I will never get tired of telling this story. I'll never. Honestly, um, you could say go back as far as the first time I played a video game. First video game I played, I remember it being Super Mario Brothers. I remember the house, everything. That was the start. That was the start where I was just like, I like video games. But what cemented it for me, because at that point in time, I was also obsessed with science. I knew I wanted to be a scientist.
Nice.
But what really got it for me was when I was in grade 5 and we had an IT class, and we used to play this game called Math Blaster in IT class. Like, that's how we learned. Like, you were doing math questions and you're playing that game, so you're learning and you're interacting with the computer because you have to use the mouse and the keyboard. And it was in that moment I was like, okay, I usually come to IT class and we'll talk about the computer, but now we're playing a game on this thing.
Yeah.
I'm used to only seeing games on Nintendos and Segas, like how and then I realized that they call it a computer game, and I realized that the computer game and the video game are the same thing. And immediately I was like, this is what I want to do. I want to learn how to make these things. Like, I want to learn how to make things that entertain you, that teach you things, that tell you stories. And ever since then, it was just, I want to be a game developer. But I lived in Jamaica, so, I mean, first art school is basically nothing but the traditional arts.
Yeah.
And if you're doing a computer science degree, that's what you're going to do, computer science. There was no game development. So, I mean, that's the track I went then. I was like, well, I guess I'm just going to have to learn IT, become a programmer, and see how that goes. And from there, eventually, stuff fell into place. Unity went free, and I was like, I can finally make games because I don't need to have $10,000 US dollars to get a license to go and figure out how to do something. So that's my story. Like, I was inspired by that one video game, Math Blaster, and from then till now, I will never forget it, because that's the reason I am in IT and game development now.
Amazing. So I also want to hear this as a point from both of the inductees. What got you into, being a part of this course? Other than me, of course. So starting with Antoneo.
Right, so for me, let's say about grade 4, grade 5 thereabout, I got introduced to a game called Minecraft by my friends, and that's when I had the freedom to create what I wanted, essentially make an entire world in my but I never really understood how to apply that to real life, I would say. So this really helped to get me to know how to do that and help me.
Awesome. Okay, I like that. So now next up is you, Shonique. It's like you're thinking about it today, thinking deep about it.
Right. So in terms of me, so I'm going to tell my story as well, just like Mr. Zane would. So I initially will start from sixth form because, to be honest, I went to sixth form by hopes. I was not expecting to go. I was having issues. I was not supposed to go to sixth form, but I ended up at Mona High School. I met Mr. Samuels. He taught me digital media, and immediately I was inspired. Um, I got my first laptop around that time, and my favorite game is Asphalt 8. I will forever play that game. And I was inspired by how they would create the cars, how fast the car was moving, the different buildings that were around, how things like that were able to happen. And in doing my degree, I actually signed up for animation and gaming design because I was supposed to also be doing the CXC version of it. But there was some issues with that. However, upon signing up for that, the course was expected to come out the year after I was supposed to start. So they dropped me in computer science. Um, doing computer science in my last year, because animation and gaming design had no started at the school, we were offered to do the courses since they were in the department, and it was supposed to be a double major. The computer science degree was supposed to be a double major. Mr. Whyte taught me my 3D courses and my graphic courses. So then again, I was also inspired by creating all of these 3D images, all of the, I think I created a 3D thumb drive, a 3D clock, certain things like those, like creating 3D objects. It was really, really nice. And I also learned how to bounce a ball across the screen. So I was like, whoa, I can roll the ball now. So those are some things that kind of influenced me to do this course when Cleon really offered it. So I was like, I now have the opportunity not to just do some research on how to utilize, how to use Maya and other 3D software, but no, I'll actually have someone there to guide me and to assist me in doing certain things. So that's my story.
Wonderful story.
I'm so jealous of you guys, like having these options in high school. Like, you know, my options were general or technical IT. Those were my options. Like, I'm really happy that there's the opportunity now to be starting these courses at that level, because I mean, the resources are out there that we can learn all these things at home, but starting it in the school track is really the right direction. So we can really, like, I'm looking forward to seeing so much coming out of our countries, the Jamaica and the Greater Caribbean,
So
in the
true.
future, because we're putting this at the CXC level.
So true. Same. I am looking forward to it as well. Sir White, you want to add something to this?
I'm not just going to say so sweet, my name get called up. Yeah. Well, what inspired me to get into the field? To be honest, creativity is a part of life. I've always enjoyed it from art class. I am a mathematical person from nature, so it computer science, and really and truly just being able to teach it to help others. So was always been something that I was doing from I was in prep school. I understood something, I tried to help my friends to get it, and with so doing, I think that's how I ended up forming my career later on, teaching and being creative.
Nice. So I also want to, point out at this point in time as well that, Mr. Roy Williams is a part of the session with us. He is here to show his support for Antoneo. He's his father. He's also my father. Antonio is my youngest brother, I should say. So, I just want to say thank you for being here, and I'm sure that you're enjoying your time here. You can even unmute and say something if you want. Seems not.
Greetings, Sir Williams. All is well.
All right, silence needs no response. All right. So we'll add the points to the
Silence mean all is good, Cleon.
Yes, all is good. Indeed. All right. So, on to the next one. Wait, hold on.
Boy, this look rigged now.
You get up, you give our points.
Oh.
The game look rigged now.
Okay, because I was like, wait, so there's something not right. So, to the inductees.
I mean, I like the inductees. I know, but when I give a point, so.
So, which one shall it be, Shonique?
Well, they're only worth 100, so no.
Come on. Shonique do the maths, you know. Shonique do the maths already,
man. Anyone. Well,
anyone.
Tell me, or anyone. It doesn't matter. Right. It's only 100.
All right. So this one says, why do you think you were invited today? This goes out to everyone.
Because I did the course. I did the course, and in my mind, I do believe that I have done well. So I believe that I have passed the course. That's my belief. So that's why I believe I was invited.
Awesome. Okay. Yeah. All right. So to my left, to my right, Antoneo.
Graduate.
Valid. All right. Valid. So Mr. Zane, how about you?
I figure I was invited because we're both a part of the JGDS, and there is great value that we've both received from that community, and you would want to show the new inductees somebody from that community, a community that I'm expecting them to be a part of. If you're making things for game development, and a community that you would be welcome to show us your work, and like, so let me be preemptive and welcome you guys to the JGDS, and I hope that I see those two new names in the Discord very soon, and we'll be seeing your work very soon.
Indeed. All right, so next up, Mr. Peter.
I believe I was invited here today to just encourage the inductees, give them a glimpse of the world that is ahead of them, and to let them know that this is a community that, just is there for them to rely on, and for us to offer support to them, because they're going to need it, and that's the reality of it. And, just to share in this moment with them.
Indeed. And then we have Mr. Whyte.
Oh, that's simple. Because I'm awesome. Okay. All right. To be honest, I was invited for a couple of reasons. One of which is I'm one of Cleon's mentors, and really and truly, just always a joy just to be here to see his growth and development from a student to being a business professional, and his growth in the field, and just seeing the outcome of the students, and to encourage you guys, yes, become a part of the networks. Hoping to also see you guys as part of Jan. Animation also fits in with games. Can't leave it out.
So true. So true. Yes.
We definitely need more animators.
Yeah. So true. All right, so I'm the points, the inductees. Oh gosh, man. At first I really thought that the inductees were going to win this one,
They're shying away from the big money.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yep.
If we never bad up your brother, he must go and take a little money.
So the last one, it says, what has been your biggest project to date?
All right, I'm going to take that one there first.
All right.
Any of you guys seen the Delta commercial?
Nope.
All right, you guys. Cleon, look for Delta animation.
All right, sir. Yeah.
Delta supply animation. That should be the top one. Go back. Take out the supply. I think you should see it with Delta animation.
Okay. That's let me see.
Or if not, all right, let me find the link and send to you. All right, try Delta supply. So we did a 2D animation for them. That I think is our yeah, that one.
All right.
Writing's not that easy, but Grammarly can help. This sentence is grammatically correct.
Good old dads.
Delta supply, look out be the big D. No other choice, look out be the big D. Listen what me tell you, look out be the big D. We service what we sell you, look out be the big D. Industrial equipment, we specialize. Cleaning solutions and supplies, power tools, hand tools, welding, fabrication, agriculture, landscaping, irrigation, safety and material handling. Anything for construction, we can angle it. Big D service, anything you purchase. Big D satisfy you with a purpose. Delta supply, look out for the big D.
Call us at 876-302-6111-4. Delta Supply, we service what we sell.
Awesome. All right. So anybody else want to, share in on what's been their biggest project to date?
And my next one is Cleon and Shonique.
So true. So true.
That's a good one, sir.
So for me, my biggest project to date has to be my investment into, establishing this academy, because I've had the opportunity to train since I've started doing any form of training. I've counted it up and I've surprised myself. I've trained over 400 students in the span of 3 years, I believe.
Wow.
Yeah, it surprised me. I thought it was somewhere in the hundreds, but I was very much corrected.
Hold on. 400 already, Cleon?
Yes, sir.
But let me know on my calculation then.
Yeah.
Awesome, go ahead, Cleon.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. And out of all of those students that I've trained, with the opportunity, the person that I've had the opportunity to actually certify, to train them and give them a certificate, it's close to around 60 or 70 persons. And out of that set, it is about 12 persons that I actually give a certificate to. And that's in part to, how they've proven themselves to handle the situations that will be necessary going into the industry, whether it be that they fall short on communicating effectively, or they've just decided that it's not something for them. And as I mentioned, meeting deadlines and timing, stuff like those, that when you're coming into the creative industry, you'll find it attracts a lot of persons, but it isn't necessarily for a lot of persons, particularly because they see that this very exciting thing, but when the work hits, they tend to want the ghost on that. So out of that set, I am proud to say that I've trained 70 eligible persons and I've certified only 12. And those 12 persons that I've certified have been proven to, continue evolving and pushing into the directions that they see fit with the skills. And I'm really proud of that. So that's my biggest project to date. The second biggest one I have is actually a collaboration project that I did with Zane recently.
Oh.
Yeah. you know. So it's a really um it's a really fun one. Let's get to H dot io. Yeah. So this one has been really, really fun for me, and I enjoyed doing it with everybody that was involved. It was the biggest collaboration project I've ever done to date. So here it is. It's a patois dialogue pack, where we did it's over 400 different audio files across one, two, three, four, five, six, seven of us that did this project, where we actually voice some Jamaican phrases and dialogue and stuff like that. And I'm just gonna play it. They see it for yourself.
Where dude?
Where you want?
That good man.
Oh,
Zane.
yo.
What is father?
Boy. Morning. Later.
He is nowhere.
Blessed.
Yeah, that's a lot of fun doing that.
Yeah, definitely. I did too, you know. So for me, this was really, really fun, because one, I get to be very expressive on the mic. On top of it, it's some Jamaican, dialect and stuff. And I prepared a free sample, for those who are going to be sitting the Cape CXC for game design and for animation and game design, so that way they could also use this, with their whatever game they have to make and stuff like that. So while we put this out as a paid pack, there was a free sample, just to contribute to those who are, trying out this in school and stuff like that. And everybody that was a part of this process really made it fun as well. Some of the expressions, when they say them, it really does feel, lively, and you get excited about it and stuff like that. And the whole process was just really smooth. So those are my two biggest projects to date that I, wanted to share with you guys. So anybody else taking a whack at it, or that seems to be it?
I guess I could. Honestly, my biggest project is not in game. What I consider the biggest project, not in game development, not in software development at all. The second biggest one though is my current project, which is Washberry Workshop, which I also love that project because it's a pretty nonsensical game. Starring three raccoons, one of which has a Jamaican accent. So I really love doing the voices for that raccoon. But that's a work in progress. But we'll get that out. But my biggest project to date, I will say, is Anime Nation, which I am proud to say that myself and my friends were responsible for basically starting off the whole cosplay culture in Jamaica with Anime Nation. And it was hard trying to get people to even believe that, anime or something is something that's like people watch this and people are entertained by it. That's definitely the biggest project and one of the things I'm most proud of.
Wow.
Because that cosplay convention has spawned several other conventions in Jamaica now, and watching that happening is great.
I love that. Love that.
Oh man, that video is rotated.
Yeah.
Yeah. This was a hilarious night though, because that's not what was supposed to happen.
Yeah. This is a prime example of, it just does its own thing. Yeah. So, let me assign the last points.
We all know. We all know.
Yes, are the outcome, the victors of the
We
night.
are the champions, my friend.
Definitely. So, I want to continue to um what am I saying? I want to, thank you guys, for coming out to this. It's really great that oh, it's really great that I was able to, see you guys come out to, introduce and welcome the inductees for tonight. And it's been amazing for me personally, being that I'm in the company of great persons, and these are individuals that I admire and look up to, even though I will work alongside most of them. In fact, I will work alongside all of them, and they serve as inspiration to me because they are prime example of how we look out for each other within the game development industry, within the animation industry. And this is what you should expect coming into any one of these industries to work. We look out for each other. We generally try to be friendly and to provide assistance where we might need some. And so showing you this sort of culture is my way of you know just basically kicking off of the ship, making it can swim because adrenaline already. Yeah, exactly. So with my closing thoughts, drop my little we call it again, little pamper thingy. Yeah,
Confetti.
Yeah, confetti. Thank you. So with the closing thoughts, I'd like to just hear from each of you, like what's your thoughts on the process tonight? Things that you like or dislike, and how do you think I could improve on this induction ceremony for those who will be experiencing it going forward? Open floor. Who wants to go first?
Well, I can start. I do want to say definitely thanks for inviting me to be a part of this. I'm happy I got to see some work from people who I can expect to see doing great things in the future. And also got to hear um, from some other people who are doing things out there because I've never met Adrian, but I've worked with people from Jan in the past for animation stuff, and then I've seen Taz stuff all the time on YouTube.
Yeah.
And it, it's just you're doing a great thing, Cleon. I have to say, I really have to say. And this ceremony in and of itself also is a great thing, especially in the times that we're going through now, these remote times, these inside times. But the opportunity to um, see people, see what you're doing, and um, network with people on this it's great. Um,
Thank
so
you.
yeah, I can't say I disliked anything. I didn't know what I was walking into. I just knew I was going to be a part of the induction ceremony, and I've enjoyed my time here. And congrats to you both, and good luck with your projects. And I hope that something amazing comes of several of them.
Indeed. All right. So next up, I get shy for me.
Oh, okay. So,
Alright, so you can go.
Well, mine will be a little short. All I would say is keep up the good work, Cleon. I saw the first induction because you shared it with me, and I mentioned that it's a great move that you're making. And I'm happy to be a part of this because when you mentioned it to me, there was no second thought in my mind to be a part of it, because just to put on something like this, it's no small feat. So I'm happy to be a part of this, and once again, congratulations to the inductees, everyone who is a part of it, the guests. So I don't have anything that I can say that can be improved on, because you're doing a good work. Just keep consistent with it, and as I said, you will be the special speaker for my career thing. the success
I'm proud of it.
person, you know. So that's all I have to say.
All right. And then there were three.
Right, so I'm officially next. That's fine. Alright, so in terms of tonight went really, really well. And thank you everyone for your congratulations. Cleon, you are doing a really great job. However, you showed that 7 out of 30. That was very nice. Just tossing that out there. Like, I swore that I would never get that 7 again. So I kind of maximized on that thought, never to get that 7 again. But tonight was really, really nice. It was really fun to interact with persons in this area, in this career path, and this is something that I'm looking forward to working with everyone.
Awesome.
And
All right,
I
so
just
my
want to,
closing. Oh,
I just want to go ahead and say thank you for everyone who said congrats. And so, Nick, imagine getting 7 on that first one. Like, I will say tonight I did have lots of fun, and like to say, just continue to put out more work like this. You know, that you always go in depth about things. So, thank you very much for that.
You're welcome, and I'm grateful.
all right. So my closing thoughts. For each of us as we go through this journey in the field, we're all going to evolve to different roles in the sector and society, and it really is good to see Cleon and the upcoming team that's coming in to take our places. I'm looking forward to having a great retirement, knowing to have all these wonderful people take over. But keep up the great work. To the inductees, job well done. I mean, congratulations to you on choosing you to take up this opportunity, and just keep practicing, be consistent, put it out there. The more you do, the better you get.
Indeed. So to officially, finish off everything, I want to mention that I have given both of these inductees an opportunity, an offer, to be a part of my company. Antoneo is on a 4 months contract with my company, to produce and design buildings and stuff. And Shonique, I made two offers to her. One to be a team member of my company, and another offer to also be an instructor when I set up things with the academy. So I wanted to let you all know this as the offers that I've made to them, and I'm looking to help them to continue to tailor their performances, because the end goal of this training, which is the Architect Previz course, it is one of 3 levels. The second level would be an environment props design, where they learn to create vegetations and stuff like that. And the third level is when they become 3D environment artists, where they're going to learn how to mold and shape landscapes. And using the previous 2 skills that they would acquire, which is to create the buildings and to create vegetation, they're now going to have the ability to create cities and towns, which is the end result that I want to get them. So that's the goal. That's the offers that I've made to them. And once again, as your MC for the night, I just want to say thank you very much for your time, for being able to come out to this. And as you've all mentioned as well, this is a networking opportunity for persons on both sides of the industry to get familiar with each other as well, because games cannot be made without animation, and animations contribute a lot to games. So, on that note, thank you very much, and I hope that you enjoy the rest of your night.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Good night,
Night all.
everybody.
Alrighty. Zane, good to meet you. I'm a fan of your work, especially with the anime cosplay stuff.
Thanks.
A lot of my former students actually do a lot of role in there.
Wow.
So it's really good to see that you guys brought it up. In fact, it was even something I was talking about in class this week.
I'm glad that it's still going strong.
Awesome.